The Bulldog Radio Network proudly presents the Coach Minnick Show with hosts Mike Davis and Jim Dickerson. And here's the head coach of the 2023 state champion Kearney Bulldogs, Coach Logan Minnick.
All right, welcome to the Coach Minnick Show. I am your host, Mike Davis, along with my friend and I guess assistant in this case, although you kind of carry the load most of the time, you know, if I'm being honest about it. Kelly Gentry to my left, and Coach Logan Minnick, head coach of the 3-0 Kearney Bulldogs, and the most recent win, yes, that's our live studio audience, our most recent win against Smithville. What was the score? 38-14. And how fun it is to be on the winning side of that rivalry. You know, that would never get old, frankly. So congratulations on a great win. How about that?
Thank you. Yeah, great win for our kids, great win for our program. You know, anytime you can beat those guys, it seems like it's a huge win, you know, a huge program win. And I think I told you guys after the game, it's been a long time since Kearney's gone over there and had a win like that, you know, not just squeaking one out or finding a way to win. I thought we were pretty dominant at times. Plenty to clean up, I can promise you that, from when we got back and watched film, and plenty we can fix. But, you know, for week 3 and a fairly still young ball club, we're pretty excited about the direction we're going.
Well, I think that, you know, Kelly and I noticed that during I think it was midway through the second quarter or so, it's sort of like both offense and defense has sputtered a bit. And we're trying to figure out what's going on here, because it looked like we kind of came out strong, which we did. And yeah, and then I asked you about it after the game, and you indicated, yeah, there are things we're going to clean up. Having said all of that, the sense I get is that it just proves to me and others that you all beat a really good football team, regardless of really not, maybe perhaps even playing up to your full capability.
Right. Yeah, that's still a top 5 team in Class 4. I think the rankings came out and they didn't drop even a spot. Yeah. So, you know, and they're a really young team this year as well. So, you know, they're just going to continue to get better every week, just like we are. And you know, there's a great chance we see those guys again, and it should be another good ball game. But yeah, we definitely have plenty of things we can fix. I thought they were very, very good against our run game, at least our inside run game. Now we got them on the edges some, and some of our option game was good to us, but plenty we can clean up there. And then I thought our run defense wasn't as tough as what we wanted it to be at times. Now, when the varsity only gives up 7 points, I may be nitpicking. I may be nitpicking a little bit, but plenty we can get better at. But again, what a great team win! You know, you get scoring from all 3 phases. I think the offense had a short field all night long. It's like when we got done with the games, man, we don't have very many offensive yards. And one of my coaches reminded me that our first 3 drives started inside of their 30. So just a great overall win. Really proud of the way our kids came out. I think I told you guys after the game too, I just felt like, you know, we're no longer going over there and hoping to win. We're going over there, we expect to win. It may not always happen, but that's the mentality I think we've gotten to.
It really looked like very confident, and what a huge start to the game on the defense. Your 3rd week in a row being able to score from the defensive side of the ball, which you said that didn't happen last year,
right,
which we were surprised. So talk a little bit about the momentum that you get from a big play like that to start the game.
Yeah, we're gonna lean heavy on that defense all year long. You know, it's kind of not that we weren't great on defense last year, but at times on offense, you know, we scored about every time we touched it in 3-4 play drives at times. So looks a little bit different on offense, but at the same time, you know, we're playing full team football here where the play calling may change a little bit at times, knowing, you know, it's going to be really tough for teams to get any traction going against our defense. And then this is 2 weeks in a row where I thought our special teams has been unbelievable. So when 2/3 of the game's going that way, you know, I don't always have to call every trick play or as we call offense. But we don't have to take as many shot plays. It's really more about, let's take some time off the clock, let's not turn the football over, and let's try to change the field position. So I think we're playing very good complementary football between all our phases right now.
Yeah, I want to anybody that was watching the game saw that the sophomore quarterback, Carter Temple, he was 8 of 14 for 98 yards. Not to mention that he has become, at least in my eyes, and he always has been, a dual threat quarterback. And 4 carries for 71 yards. Now, I know a couple of those were on an incredible sort of fake handoff. And boy, on one, Kelly, did we both, you and I, not get fooled?
It fooled us big time.
And I think everybody else in the stadium as well. And I did want to mention that Carter Temple is our Conrad's player of the game real quickly before we get back to you. You want to put that up there, Brian, real quickly? There he is, number 16. Carter Temple, sophomore, dual threat quarterback with, turns out, a pretty darn good arm. And we saw him go on a deep post pattern, and one that was in the arms of, I believe, Grant, and bounced, unfortunately, into the dirt. And you heard the booth, I think, again, say, Coach, let's go back to that play. And
don't give him too much credit,
yeah,
Coach.
this is now. We sent the headsets off Monday. We told them we've got something's coming from outside sources into our headsets, so we've got to get that cleaned up. So we'll be sending a bill here to 1027. So
I'll go to Brian.
Jim Dickerson, you better get ready for that.
Talk about Carter Temple. What a great kid.
Yeah, Carter's just the ultimate competitor, guys. We've known all along what he could add in the run game, and he can throw it a mile, as you guys saw. He's just got to continue to grow as a sophomore quarterback. There's plenty of the mental aspect and just kind of what we want at times, and you don't always have to throw the home run ball. Some of those things will get cleaned up. But again, he's a horse, boys. And the late great Tom Adams was the head coach at Richmond, Hall of Famer for years. Used to say, "Coach, if you got a horse, you got to ride him." And, so we're going to continue to do that. I thought he played exceptionally well going into that kind of environment to a top 5 Class 4 ranked team over there, and going to Smithville where we haven't always played the best over there. And I thought he handled it really well. I mean, as you guys said, he's going to be hard to tackle. He's almost 200 pounds now, as Mike said. He's like, man, he was a lot bigger than what I thought he was. Yeah, he's a big kid. He's a national Greco-Roman wrestler out in Fargo this year. So he's going to strike fear in a lot of our opponents over the next 3 years here, just because he's a phenomenal player, and he's a really, really dang good linebacker too. So in future years, you may see him play a little bit of both. I'm not going to put all that on his plate yet this year as a sophomore, but
you don't see the quarterback linebacker combination.
Right? Yeah. But phenomenal kid, phenomenal athlete, and just so competitive, so dang competitive. I've talked to of knowing like this year he won state wrestling in the last 5 seconds of overtime or something. So, we've talked several times on the show about those big moments where the moment's not too big, or the game kind of slows down for some of those kind of people. I think he's one of those guys for us.
One thing I was going to compliment him on too, we've noticed it in the 2 games that he's played in, some situations where you have a play called for him, he's looking to throw a pass, but it's not open, you've got the lead, and he threw it away or threw it where nobody could catch it. So, I mean, those are things that I'm sure you guys are coaching him up on, and I just thought that shows a lot of poise for a sophomore.
Yeah, we hammer home with our kids, and it's kind of a crazy stat with all the wins we've had here since I've got here. In every game we have not turned it over, we've won every single game. We have not lost a football game if we do not turn the football over. So we put a huge emphasis on that in practice, and Coach Backus is our biggest guy on that. If we don't turn it over, we're going to win. Turnovers usually do tell the tale of a win and a loss, but I think it's pretty crazy that you wouldn't have a game where we turn it over once and still found a way, the other opposite way where, but yeah, if we've not turned it over, we have not lost a game this past 3 years, so that's pretty awesome.
That's incredible. Yeah.
We'll have some video of Carter Temple in a bit, but one of the things, and I'm not giving anything away, but I asked him about his poise, and he pointed out to me, and of course all these guys deflect, any kind of glory to the team and the coaches and so forth, but he did indicate, he says, we practice these things all week long, and he said we were getting great looks from inside with our own team, so we saw all of these things, we see it time after time, and it's repeated all throughout practice. So the upshot of it all is, he said, yeah, basically we're well prepared.
Right. Yeah, we've got a phenomenal coaching staff, boys. Preps KC honored our staff this week which is a really cool thing they're doing. They're no longer just they still do the Chiefs Head Coach of the Week award, but Preps KC has gone to a Coaching Staff of the Week, and our Kearney staff got that, and you get to throw your guys a little pub, and it's a huge shout out. And as you guys saw, when you put together a complete game where all three phases are as good as they were Friday, that's a huge shout out to our staff, and I wouldn't trade those guys for anybody.
Yeah, no doubt about that, and we saw it. I mean, it just is. It's great to see. Unfortunately, for Smithville, but fortunate for you guys, were the lucky recipients of some pretty poor kicks.
Yeah.
On Smithville, and I guess it happens. They finally got a pretty decent one off toward the end of the game. I think it was in the fourth quarter. But that, I think, was a great example of what happens with field position and your punting unit.
Yeah, I think part of that too is when Trey Smith runs the first one back to the 15 and the second one back for a touchdown. He did not step out of bounds.
Thank you.
Did not. Did not. Wasn't close. But regardless, when it makes that punter a little bit nervous, because I'm sure their next few, they were trying to tell him to kick it out of bounds or kick it away from him. So that has a huge impact on that kid's now not just thinking catch it, kick it. Now he's trying to kick it out of bounds, and they had a couple shanks there that went, 10 or 15 yards in the punt game too. So I think it was a combination of them trying to figure out who their punter is. Now, number 6 for them had punted in previous games, but he has a great big cast on, so I'm sure they were a little nervous about him catching the punt snaps, because we notoriously have came after kicks too. So if he has any slight bobble or doesn't catch it clean, we're probably going to get home on that. So that may have been part of it. But again, we're glad we benefited from it, and we always do our hidden yardage and starting field positions, and that was what the difference in the score was. The stats kind of are comparable between two good teams, but the starting field position was night and day, not even close.
Well, like you said, you said you want your special forces to be special, and they really were.
Yep.
Talking about Trey, and I know he's going to get one of those in. He's had another one called back because of a penalty earlier. But we talk about it now when we know he's back there, and I know Grant's back there with him on kick, which is a lethal combination too. But just how well those guys blocked that. I mean, you can just see it opening up, and you're like, man, with his speed, and he makes one guy miss, and he was gone. So, but thank you for saying that, because we called it a touchdown.
Yep.
We were like, that's good, and then they brought it back out. We were confused what was happening.
Well, we were confused, but that's not unusual.
Yeah.
But we know he's going to get one of those in.
Yep.
So anyway, but that the special teams has been crazy good so far this year. So
yeah, we had several guys down there on our sideline, including my dad down there, standing right on top of it, and the official comes up to me afterwards, "Is those people on your staff down here?" And I was like, I don't know those guys. So my dad was barking at the official down there about him being inbounds, but we got that cleaned up. But but no, it was like it wasn't even close. And so now Coach Wendell's done a phenomenal job with our special teams taking over this year, and he takes so much pride in letting our guys know on those units, guys, just block just a little bit. We've got special kids that are going to make plays in the return game, and I think that motivates those guys. If I can make one block, if I just get a piece of this guy or get a piece of a second guy, Trey's going to be pretty special and get in the end zone. But it's always on Coach Wendell's goal list to score touchdowns on the special teams, and now we've had one called back for a legal block right at the goal line, and now we've had another one called back that he was not out of bounds. So
and I think Trey was on both of them,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, both were Trey. So it just shows you how well those units are playing and how electric he can be with football.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you talk about the guys blocking. And in fact, I think that's great advice. Just even if you're just standing in front of somebody or running in front of somebody, just get in their way if that's all it takes. But we could see a wall of blockers on more than one return, and it looked just like. That's the way. In fact, I think I mentioned it on the air that if you want a model for how your punt team or your receiving team, either one, this is how you do it right here.
Right.
Yeah. And, good to see.
Well, I was going to mention, too, on the one pass, since we're talking about getting close to the goal line, Grant Nolan scored 3 times in the game out of the hand package, kind of benefited from the ball getting down there close a couple times. And then Trent Dostal made a really good catch when you did come back. After Grant missed the first one, you came back with the long pass again, got it down to, that was like to the 1-inch line, right? I'm like, man, this is precise.
Yeah, how he's not called in the end zone there, I don't know that either. But again, that was a great play call by Mike Davis in the headset there. Yeah. Coach, he was pretty open there. Let's probably throw that one again. So we went ahead and just let her eat again.
Checks in the mail.
But Grant's a touchdown thief right now. He's taken 5 or 6 this year already that we were tackled at the 1 maybe, and where he gets the benefit of those. But it doesn't bother me. We like to give the kids a bunch of crap about, no touchdown TD, no touchdown Trey. Grant gets them all. But no, it's been really good. The hand package has been good to us again this year so far. So we don't care how we score them as long as we're scoring them.
And Grant's one of those kids you've got going both ways a little bit, and had a tremendous job, as a lot of your defenders did, on the tackles category from his safety position as well.
Right. Yeah, Grant's a ball player, boys. We're
no
blessed
doubt.
to have him.
Yes.
Put him anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny when he takes a handoff from the heavy package, it's hard to sometimes see who actually has the ball. And so it's not as if he's getting, and we know he's got incredible speed, so it's not as if we see this amazing run that he's darting in and out of the defenders and running a long way to the end zone. No, he's right there. Yep. Unless he dives over the top.
One of them, he dove over the top. You're exactly right. One of them, he just dove right over the top, showed some really good athleticism.
And in a way, he sort of silently goes about scoring 3 touchdowns, or was it 4? I was actually.
I think it was 3.
Yeah, 3. Yeah,
this week, but
yes. And so, what a weapon! What an incredible weapon! And again, what a great bunch of guys up front blocking and just pushing that load.
Yeah, he's definitely a little different than what you normally would snap it to on your hand package. Usually, snap it back through to a Zach Grace or a Cam Emmons that are, just road grader type guys that are going to get you that extra yard. But it's kind of like. If you remember years ago when the Chiefs would never take Jamal Charles out down around the goal line. Everybody in the league had these giant backs, and they would just keep – it's hard to see him back there. And then at any point, you've got to account for the speed of the sweep play out of it. So it's kind of made the hand package more dangerous a little bit at times, knowing that we can run sweep at any point, and he can outrun almost anybody on the field. So
like the Fort Osage play.
Right. So it's added some new elements to it, and Grant does just a good job of. He doesn't need a giant hole to get through there. He can skinny his little butt through there and get the 1.5 yards that's needed at times as well. And he's always going to fall forward on that play, and he's super smart about knowing the down and distance. So it's been good for us.
Love it. Let's take a real quick break here. You're watching or listening to the Coach Minnick Show. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there. All right, Mike Davis for KMO-TV, and I'm standing here with Aiden Ariano, sophomore defensive back, and tremendous job on the game tonight. You open up the game with another pick six, and wow, how much fun was that?
It was a lot of fun. I was in the stance and I was doing my drop back, and I see the ball coming, and I just had to get it. So then once I had it in my hands, I knew it was in the end zone.
Well, that is the third defensive score, if I'm not mistaken, this year. And you probably knew that you didn't have any defensive scores last year, as good as the defense was. And let's just talk about the defense overall. I know you're a sophomore, which makes me very happy because we get you for another couple of years after this. But let's talk about how you had to prepare for what was I think the best team you've faced yet this year.
Well, practice, we studied their film very hard, and in practice, the offense was very good with us. They give us our formations, and they quizzed us very hard on it. So when it came game time, we'd already seen it 100 times in practice, and we were ready for it.
When I look at the two teams side by side, it just looks to me like Kearney is just a slight edge bigger overall. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not. We've been hitting the weight room. Our numbers have been going up, and it's going to continue.
That's what I like to hear. That wasn't exactly the answer I was looking for, but, man, that's some good stuff right there. Nice job overall. And I think one of the things that I noticed is there is just a level of intensity that you guys just never seem to come out of. I mean, you never seem worn down. And, in fact, I noticed, and I mentioned it, it felt like that you were still playing, the defense was still playing with a little bit of urgency late in the fourth quarter when the game was really decided.
It's really the coaches on that. They make sure we stay humble during the game. When we start to get giddy, they calm us down. They tell us we need to keep going at it so we don't let anything really big happen.
All right, this is a big rival, and clearly this game has implications for later in the season. I know you guys don't want to look ahead. I know you're coached against it, but you got to be honest with me and say, yes, you've been thinking about this, that puts you in a pretty good position for later in the year.
Yes, I think I would agree too. I'm very excited for the next time we come head-to-head.
No doubt about it, and very likely that it could be for the district championship. But you beat a terrific team, and there's no doubt in my mind that you guys were the better team tonight, and clearly I think the score showed it. Congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
My pleasure. With Aiden Ariano, it's Mike Davis with KMO-TV. All right, that might be one of my favorite interviews so far this year. I mean, Aiden is so forthcoming, and just such a great, enthusiastic young personality. What a terrific guy. What about that guy?
Yeah. As you said, the energy doesn't stop with that young man ever. But phenomenal football player. I told you guys, he was the one when we would put the younger kids in last year on Fridays, and you would just hear a hit, and you'd look out there and you're like, 46 again. So we knew coming in this year that he was definitely going to compete for a starting job somewhere, and he's a heck of a running back as well. So we knew we had a football player there, and we were going to find him a home, and he's done a phenomenal job playing what we call our dog backer. He's kind of that hybrid linebacker safety type kid where, we like to now, we're kind of just trying to put Aiden where we think the football may go. We're trying to, for being able to funnel the football to Theo and Aiden has really benefited our defense, knowing, now you can't really run away from us defensively because we've got so much depth over everywhere. And super excited for him, two pick sixes in 3 weeks. We were trying to figure out, we're like, wonder what the state record is for pick sixes in a season, and it's 5, we found out, by Tommy Saunders of the Kearney Bulldogs. And
remember that guy.
I was like, why was anyone throwing the football at Tommy Saunders is what I'm trying to figure out that he had, because I think he had 10 or 11 interceptions as a senior and ran 5 of them back, and it's like, if we are playing against Tommy Saunders, we're not throwing the ball anywhere near Tommy. He might not have 10 passes defended all year if we were playing. But just excited for him. Great kid, as you know. He's huge into the weights. He does not look like a sophomore player. You know, he's stout. He's a wrestling kid as well. So we always like our kids that are football players, wrestlers. You know, they have that natural tackling ability and instinct, and not a lot of fear of putting your body on somebody else. What he's added in the pass defense, you know, that's kind of been exciting for us. We just thought he was going to be our thumper linebacker safety type. Now he's got 2 pick sixes, and again, just kind of shows you what our defense is this year. We've got guys all over the field making plays, from our senior guys that everybody knows about to these new guys that are becoming household names already. So we're really excited for him and his future.
Well, he was in the middle of what looked like zone coverage, and I have to believe that there was quite a bit of pressure on the quarterback to just get rid of that football, because it really came sailing almost right to Aiden.
Yeah.
I mean, it practically was thrown to him. And so that's great defense up front, too, as well. Put a lot of pressure on that quarterback.
Yeah, our DBs know that as well. They know that with our D-line, we're going to get home to the quarterback quite a bit, or at least put him under pressure. So there may be some times where they've kind of got that mental clock in their head of, okay, they're about to get there, so they can start jumping some routes and doing some different things, of knowing, you know, they're getting accustomed to how quickly the ball is going to come out, which makes you as a DB, gives you a little bit better idea of when you can jump routes and when you can't, and when you got to stay over stuff. I thought it was kind of funny that, because it was like a 50-yard interception return, I knew as soon as I caught it was going to the end zone. It's like you had to pass 8-10 bodies. You had 3 or 4 really good blocks in there.
Right.
Love the confidence.
Yes.
He does not ever lack that. But I did kind of find that funny. Yeah, as soon as I caught it, I knew it was in the end zone. When it happened, I was like, all right, we're going to get great field position there. And then it just kept going up that sideline. And great job by the rest of the defense making blocks and building a wall. And we talked to our kids all about time, because there were several there that our kids could have hit somebody in the back or hit somebody behind the play, where they've laid off of those. So I think that's one thing, kind of what we talked about with our punt teams earlier, that our coaching staff does a good job of. Don't get touchdowns called back. Don't make blocks that don't need to happen. You know, they're so touchy now of any kind of crackback blocks or anything they're going to throw flags on, just trying to clean up safety in the game, which is fine. So we've got to adjust. And because back in the day, you know, that would have been the defensive lineman's trying to find the quarterback. We're going to have 5 crackback blocks, or maybe 8 flags with the defense is fired up. But, you know, we've got to clean that up and put points on the board defensively. So
back in the day, back in the day, that's when people were looking to do that.
Yes,
like on
100%. But, yeah, so the defense did a great job building that wall and getting him in the end zone.
Yeah, I think that may have been the moment at which I did see that wall of white jerseys all the way down. They sort of escorted him in the end zone.
And it was hard to recognize it on the broadcast, but it was Grant Nolan who made that last block to get him in. We were trying to figure out who it was when we went back and watched it. I don't know if Brian's got the video of it, but when we went back and watched it, I was like, that was Grant. They got that block too. So,
well, I think there's a difference between, you talk about him, you know, sort of calling it, you know, from when he saw the ball, he knew it was going to be in the end zone. Well, I think there's confidence from a good competitor versus arrogance.
Right.
His clearly is confidence. There's nothing arrogant about that young man. Very humble, and again, he could run for mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started talking with him, I thought, okay, this guy's great. I want to interview him every week. But just really a great job, I think, of when they're that confident. Man, that can only help.
Yeah, Randy Polk better watch it. We got several current mayor candidates around here. But yeah, as we talked though, you know, he talked about all these kids are so humble about it. He's like, coaches keep us humble, give shout outs to my teammates. It made me think of now this is on Theo and not Aiden, but Theo walks that fine line of over the edge and right there. And so when he gets too fired up, Coach Brinkley will yell at Theo, and he'll put his foot over the sideline, and that lets Theo know, you're over the line.
Over the line.
Bring it back here. But we like to. But because I didn't even know they were doing that, and I Brinkley, Theo! And he moves that foot over the line. I'm like, what signal is that? I usually know about every aspect of this program. I don't know what's going on here. Brinkley's like, that just lets him know he's over the line, and I bring him back. I'm like, nice to know. But, yeah, we've got, as we said, I think the defense is we've got some violent young men on that side of the football that love to run around and make plays, and well, they're going to continue to do that.
Well, and we were talking about it before we got on the show here, and just the two guys we've been talking about. Aiden had 11 tackles, 3 unassisted, 8 assisted, had 2 tackles for loss, an interception, and a TD. And you're talking about Theo. Pretty good night for Theo. 24 tackles, a sack, and 3 TFLs for Theo. So.
Yeah, and if you guys noticed, we had the whole defense built last week to funnel everything back to Theo. We're normally in a lot of 2 high safety. We were cheating safeties down to kind of a 1 high look with Grant and walking the other 2 safeties down to just funnel everything to Theo and Grant. So when you do that, great things are going to happen. And, when they decided they wanted to try to get away from Theo and Grant, Aiden makes play after play. And then you got Jacob Dillon on the other side who I think almost had 10 tackles on the other side. So
that's right, yeah.
We're playing total team defense right now, and there's not a lot of holes you can find currently.
As we're talking about the linebackers, it made me notice that Mason Beaver and Isaac Beaver, while it was obvious they were playing their hearts out, and I think they were drawing a ton of double teams. I mean, those guys clearly, they'd been coached to the Smithville offense had been coached about these 2 guys. Now, because their numbers aren't sort of just sort of glowing off the page here, talk to me about what they did to suck up blocks and make and as you say, funnel the traffic to your linebackers.
Yeah, I believe a quote our kids are all talking about, and I'm not sure who over there said it, but it's like, this is just not fair. Kearney's got some grown men over there on their team. So they played like grown men. And as you said, Smithville being so well coached and such a good program, they were throwing 2 and 3 guys at them at times. They were even, I don't know if you guys saw, they were motioning their receivers down and trying to crack block them. And just they spent a lot of time in their game plan on those 2 guys. And they did a phenomenal job because this is the week where they're not going to have a bunch of tackles. They're spilling pullers. They're taking on double teams. They're getting hands on tackles who are trying to down block to Theo. They were just plugging everything up in the middle, which was just a result of when your Mike linebacker has 24 tackles, it's because your D-line are eating up all the blockers in there. And what I love about those 2, they could care less if they get their stats or not. They just want to win. And people know who they are, so it's not like they've got to have enormous stats. And if you don't double and triple team them, they are going to have a ton of stats. So proud of the way they played because they played a very unselfish game that doesn't get a lot of pub on what they did throughout that game, but they're a huge part of why the defense goes.
Yeah, and they both ended up with a ton of assists, almost double digits, I think, on assists. So I mean, they did get they got some tackles, but yeah, they were a problem for the Warriors, as they say. And we were talking too. I know you've got just the flexibility that you have with so many different guys coming in. You've got Clayton that came back to play defensive line and JD, and plus you've got Tyler Maynard and a few other guys that you can mix in at linebacker as well. So creating a lot of depth there, it looks like.
Yeah, we're excited about our current depth. Tyler Maynard's playing really well right now at linebacker. Him and Connor Dampier have been going back and forth for that spot, back and forth. Thought both had benefits, both played well, so you'll continue to see both. It was good to finally get Clay back on the field. He just adds to it. I know J.D. Romero probably didn't get as much playing time as he did, probably wanted to Friday, but he'll continue to be in there battling as well. It was just a game plan where we wanted more of Beaver Brother at the nose than we wanted at the end this week. J.D.'s much better at the nose, so gives us good rotation. And we also had Tyrus in the plans to play D-line there as well some, as you guys saw last year, and we just at the time felt we didn't need it. So we feel really good about our defensive line and linebacker depth, knowing you've got it's not, if one goes down, we're in trouble. We've built some pretty good depth at all 3 levels of our defense, so we're excited about that. We know we're going to get Cale Tucking should be back in the next week or 2, so excited for him. Got some actual decent results on an MRI for once around here, so we should get him back in the fold as well, which adds some linebacker and safety depth as well. So excited for our overall depth there. And again, guys, they're they're running around making plays, so we're excited.
Jacob Dillon, who is a linebacker.
Yep.
And he's a kicker. When we talked about earlier, there was that point during the second period when it was, y'all sputtered a little.
Yep.
And in fact, I think that was after a series of just one penalty after another where you were in the red zone and pushed back behind the 40-yard line, if I'm not mistaken. And what happens there, that Jacob Dillon goes out there and kicks a 45-yard field goal right between the uprights.
Yep.
And just, I mean, to me, salvaged what was maybe one of the sloppiest series of downs that I've seen with you all this year. And very uncharacteristic, I might add. And there it was. We're all sitting there thinking, okay, this is high school. I mean, but if anybody could do it, Jacob Dillon could do it, and he did it.
Yeah, we always watch him pregame just to have an idea of where he's comfortable at and how well he's hitting it. He had 5 or 6 over 55 in pregame where that were clearing the bar pretty well. So I definitely didn't want to kick a field goal there when we had it down in the red zone, and then had a hold, and then I don't know. It was. I've tried to forget it from my memory, but but yeah, we've got complete confidence in Jacob anywhere inside of 50. And you know, on that one, it was from 45, but it almost landed on the track. Like it was a no doubter.
Distance
field goal.
was not a problem.
So and it was good to see him bounce back. He kind of pushed the one right out the gate on a short field goal, which in high school it's kind of a weird deal of the closer you get to the goalpost in high school, the hashes are so wide in high school. Those are really tough angles. The short ones on the hash are actually harder than one 15 yards back in the middle. So it was good to see him bounce right back from that. You know, didn't lose any confidence in himself, and then comes in and bangs one from 20 yards further that was good from 60. So we were also looking, you guys asked what the state records or any of that were, and I know our school record's 53. I found out Dawson Goffrich, who was on the team when I was here as an assistant, was a phenomenal kicker for us.
I forgot about that, yeah.
So we've had good kickers here at Kearney in the past, and that's a huge shout out to Dawson. He was a great kid for us as well. And, you know, if we ever get the opportunity, you know, we might let Jacob try to fire one from 53 or plus at the end of a half or at the end of a game to at least give him a shot at it, because we've seen him make it over and over, so we know he's got that distance in him.
How demoralizing must it have been for those poor kids on Smithville to see that they held it, did such a nice job. I get it. Some of them were penalties, that's self-inflicted, but nonetheless, they had at least a sense of a little bit of a victory just momentarily until they see Jacob line up and nail this one.
Yep. It was a big score because it made it 3. It made it 17-0 at the time. You know, it was still a close game, but that gives you, you're up 3 scores at that point. Right. So it seemed like a big momentum play too.
It looks like Brian wants it's a good place for us to stop here and take another break. You're listening to the Coach Minnick Show, and if you're on KMO-TV, you're watching it, and thanks for being with us. We appreciate that. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages. Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there. Mike Davis with sophomore quarterback Carter Temple after a 38-14, really, really great win over Smithville. Congratulations on a great win.
Thank you very much.
One of the things that I noticed about you is, number one, you have a great ability to pass, but you've got some legs on you. And a couple of the plays that we saw were fake handoffs to Tristan Williams. And if you didn't fool anybody else, you fooled Kelly Gentry and you fooled me.
Yes,
But I think you got pretty much everybody fooled. But tell me about that play, because you ran it a couple of times successfully.
Yeah, we've been working on that so much, just giving a really good fake, because we knew that they would really bite on that fake and, really bite on the run. And so as soon as I saw that DN crash, I pulled it, and I knew I was going to go.
Yeah, Smithville has a very aggressive defense. In fact, one of the things that I would see, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, but it looked like they were just rushing off the edge, 3 and sometimes 4 guys, even if they weren't sure. Now, it looked like they were rushing to the strong side, but it looked to me like they were just getting bodies in the backfield if they knew that you were going to be running toward the strong side.
Yes, sir. So, what we kind of watched film on all weekend, if they had 2 corners on the weak side, they were coming, like number 7, or if we just had a guy on the end, he was coming.
So, effectively, what you did was you were able to take that aggressive play on their part and turn it against them.
Yeah, yes, sir.
You've got some legs on you. We saw that. We haven't seen any stats yet, but you're probably going to have some pretty good stats from the looks of things. But you were able to unload a couple of really nice passes down here late in the game and this side on the end zone. Talk to me about those plays.
I couldn't do it without any of my guys up front who blocked for me. I mean, I'm so thankful for everybody up there. I mean, they give me so much time, and my wide receivers, those fast guys, they go up there and get it. I know I trust them so much. Just throw it, and I know they're going to be open.
Well, Smithville was coming hard, and I mean every down, and they were really gap sound on defense, and you guys did a tremendous job breaking out of that. You obviously had to have been feeling some pressure on those plays, but your accuracy was just incredible, even under a lot of pressure. And you're just a young guy. Talk to me about that.
Well, we rep it all the time in practice, and it's just kind of just another day. We all know what we're doing. We all know where to be, where to throw it, and we all know who to block. So it's just, it's kind of nature. It's what we do.
Well, great job, and congratulations on a great win that means a lot, obviously, to your team for later in the season. But it's a rival in both conference and district, so great job and congratulations. You bet. Mike Davis with Carter Temple for KMO-TV. See you next week. Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before, exceeding. All right, welcome back to the Coach Minnick Show. What a fun interview, Coach, with your sophomore quarterback. I mean, the guy just everything points back to coaching. I mean, when you look at a guy that says, "Yeah, it just feels like second nature. It's just what we do. We practice this thing," and he gives credit to his talented wide receivers and the confidence that he has in them. He knows they're going to go up and get it. I mean, these are the kinds of things that you hear from a team, I mean, who's deep into the season. And this was right after your third game.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised how well both sophomores got in front of the camera, because I remember when I was a sophomore, I'd have been all over the board probably. But shout out to both those kids. Shout out to Carter. Love that he gave some love to his offensive line and to his receivers. We've done a really good job here. And that shout out to Coach Bax as well of keeping our quarterbacks clean for the most part in the entirety of the time we've been here. We take a lot of pride in that. So when you give our quarterbacks time, we've got special players. I love that he said that, if they're down there, we're going to give them a shot. When we call our shot plays, that's something at times we have to kind of bang into our quarterback's head. I don't care if you throw a 50-yard interception here. We'll tackle it and we'll play. When we call shot plays, let that thing eat and let it go. because we've got such good speed at the receiver position. We say if he's even, he's leaving. Let that thing go. He may look covered at the time, but if you'll throw it out there, he's going to go get it because he knows where the landmark is. He knows where you're going to throw it. So we take I love that he said we practice it a lot because we do. We spent a lot of time because Casey Rooney was so good at throwing that deep post. It was like we should never complete posts at the completion rate we have here. So we've repped it because that's a huge part of our offense of we're going to go play action and we're going to throw that post at some point, and everybody knows it, but you've got to decide, are you bringing safety down in to help in the run game, or are you going to keep him back all game? And then if you do that, we'll just continue to run it. But no, he threw back-to-back absolute 55-yard strikes. Couldn't have been more on the money. I thought Grant was a little more open than Trent was, and Grant's still kicking himself for not catching that. I'm sure Eric Nolan's still on him about that. But Trent went up and made a heck of a play on that, and this is the second time I think Trent's been called down at the 1 or something here.
The 1 inch.
Yeah. So he caught a big one against Grandview that he was down at the 1 yard line or yard and a half. So Grant, the touchdown stealer, comes in and takes it from him again. Carter's playing at a high level right now. With his arm talent, you have to defend the entire field because he can throw it anywhere. He can throw it over the field sometimes. So we're excited for his future and what he's bringing to the table.
When I listen to both of those interviews, and even more so now because I've seen them a couple of times, when you're editing, you tend to see a lot of things that's said over and over. And I can tell you that what it tells me is that defenses are going to have a really difficult time preparing for the Kearney Bulldogs. You have so many weapons. You have such great play calling. You have so many things that you can do, not to mention the little surprises that every once in a while jump out of your playbook that nobody's looking for. And I can't imagine being a defensive coordinator and having to prepare for a team like Kearney.
Yeah, I know our defensive guys don't like it in practice because, as you said, we can be anywhere from 5 wide to running 19-45 triple option. And that's something I think you guys will see more of going forward. I always thought when I became a head coach, I was going to, and the word I'm about to say here is kind of a faux pas around here, but Webb City has ran true triple option for year after year after year after year and won title after title after title. It can't be just because their kids are that much better than everybody every year. It's because you got to be unbelievably disciplined to stop that kind of offense. And so you guys have seen we started to run more triple. We ran a little bit of read stuff. We just got so injured at quarterback last year that we weren't running quarterbacks until it came to the playoffs. And this year, with us knowing we've got Brad Dahl who's fully capable, we've got Grant Nolan who can come in who's fully capable, you're going to see more quarterback run game and quarterback option games. And so now on any given run play, you've got to account for not only Carter, but you've got to account for Tristan Williams. You've got to account for Emmons. And at any point, we can step up and throw it out to Trey, who's unbelievable in space. Or, you fake the jet sweep to Grant. There's so much going on. It's, I don't have enough footballs at times on offense to get it to all our playmakers. So at times it's kind of like playing a video game at times of, where do we put the ball and to who? So it's a little bit spoiled on the offensive side.
No doubt about that.
Well, I was going to ask you, as a former quarterback myself, I did like seeing Carter very accurate on short passes, even to the far side of the field. I know Hudson Best caught one on that side. I don't know if he was playing like a tight end or extended out in the slot or something. And I know you had mentioned that you want to give him some opportunities, Carter, to get some short game throws. But I mean, they were on the money. And then the second thing I was going to mention, also as a former quarterback, very smart to recognize those guys up front, your offensive linemen. You want to stay clean back there. And I know you select Trench Player of the Week on your offensive line. I don't know who that was this week, but I thought the O-line did a super job.
Yep. The Trench Player this week, I think, was on the D-line. I think we gave it to, I think it was Isaac this week. And Mason, if it was you. You guys look the same. I'm sorry. I know we handed it. I'm pretty sure it was Isaac. But one of the Beavers got it, as we talked about. They were taking on doubles and triples and making plays there. But yeah, I thought the O-line, especially in pass pro on Friday, was they were legit. Like, he had time to throw, as he said, and, was very pleased to see us get the quick game going, because a lot of teams right now are playing those guys off and trying to take away our deep shots. And, if you're going to take us the hitch, we got to be able to throw those. And I thought he did a great job throwing the quick game.
And your wide receivers did a good job on getting past the sticks on those too. There were several times, it was like a 3rd and 8 or something like that. Our guy just got past the first down, where we didn't see that on the other side a couple of times. You were able to make the tackle before they got there. So
yeah, our receivers know if it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, we're going to bring that route a little bit longer. I thought they did a good job of catching it and carrying the defender for the extra yards, because they also know that if we get 4th and 2 or less, the hand package is coming out there, regardless of where we're at on the field. So we do a lot of those guys knowing, hey, get it to the sticks. And I thought our kids, you throw a 5-yard route and they drag the DB 4 yards. It's a lot of really good coaching going on.
Yes. I see a theme here, though, that there are so many things that we do well that we're not hiding them. I mean, it's not like any of this is a surprise to anybody that we're going to play, including really good teams like Smithville. And you guys you deliver. I mean, the execution is incredible. And what a joy to watch it, too. I mean, there's nothing worse than watching bad football. And we're not doing that at all. Brian, do we want to go to our play of the game? Let's do that real quickly.
Three wide to the near side, 1 back next to Steffen. Steffen's going to try to throw it. He throws a pick straight to Aiden Ariano. He beats one man. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Carney!
Pick 6. There you go. He was playing sitting down in a soft zone. Number 46, Aiden Ariano. That is his 2nd pick 6 for the year, Kelly. And I mean, he had all the protection going down the near sideline to take that football in. He got chipped a little bit, but I think the defender from Smithville just pushed him into the end zone.
Hey, and I didn't see who it was, but a super job blocking after the interception.
Yes.
And, Mike, that's the 3rd defensive score. We've got 1 in each game in the first 3 games. Super job.
Man, that's fun to watch, and it never gets old. I want to talk. I know we're running short on time here, but Coach, we've got a really big challenge coming. Fortunately, it's a home game. Park Hill's coming Friday night, and I know you're preparing for a Class 6 game. It's going to take another good effort from your team.
Oh, it's going to take all we got, boys. Anytime you play a school that's almost got double your enrollment, you better be prepared for that. We're excited for the opportunity and for the challenge of that game. As we talked, we want to play in these type of games, so it's a big deal. But when you watch them on film, it's a Class 6 school. There's not many holes. They're big. They're physical on the line of scrimmage. There'll be another similar to Grandview type offense where they're 75-80% pass at times. And have kids that can go the distance everywhere. So a lot of people, around the city have said to beat Kearney, you got to be able to throw it around some. So it'll be interesting to see, kind of what this game looks like, because they can throw it and have no problem. They don't care if they ever run it at times where they're going to throw it all over the field. Now, with that being said, they do have a good tailback that when they do hand it, they keep you honest in the run game. So you've got to have enough hats in the run game, or they can torture with the run. So it'll be I think our most difficult game for our defense yet this far, as far as knowing a game plan, and because they're going to motion, they're going to shift, they're going to go no huddle, a lot of up tempo offense. So you got to be locked in and you got to stay over the top, and we can't give up the big play over the top. We've got to tackle well in space because they'll throw bubbles and nows and screens, and it's kind of like what you talk about an air raid offense. That's kind of what they are, and they run it very efficiently and quickly and all over the place. So we've got to do a great job there. And then defensively, they're just big and physical. It's like they run a 4-man front on defense, and it's like, man, all 4 D linemen are good. This is not fun to game plan against. And then 3 backers that run well, and then all their DBs, they play in space really well. They run down, they want to hit you. So it'll be a definite test for us. It's, I wish we could get a Class 6 that wasn't of this caliber. But we got Class 6 back-to-back weeks here, boys. So, we've put our hard hats on and we went to work this week, and I love our game plan. I think there's some definite things we can take and some things we can be successful with. But we've got to do a great job. We can't turn it over this week and give them short fields. We have to tackle well in space. That'll be the biggest thing for us defensively, because they're going to get it to their athletes in space, and we got to get them tackled.
When you were describing them, it sounded like you were describing the Kearney Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Coach, I was going to ask you, and I did want to mention, it's also the Spectrum Kansas City Hy-Vee game of the week. So the Park Hill Kearney game is the Spectrum Hy-Vee game of the week. So that's pretty cool to have that here at Kearney. I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going to put you guys in the press box. I think you're out. But no, it is. It's on. It'll be broadcast on Spectrum this week, which is cool. I've had 3 or 4 of these as a head coach. I think at Raytown, we've not had a TV game here at Kearney, so anytime we can get, more of our brand out to the whole KC Metro, we're excited for that. Now, there's cameras everywhere, so I'm going to have to watch my mouth a little bit at times, I think. But no, I'm kidding. But no, it's exciting for our kids, because, that's a thing where they can always go back, which now you have Huddle and all that. Well, they'll have their film forever, but this is something you can go pull off of YouTube and have the live TV broadcast. And, it's not just the sideline cameras. They've got cameras down the sideline that are right in their face and up close stuff. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool to be able to give the kids the opportunity to be on TV. We just told them all week, y'all better not lose on TV. We can't be doing that. But no, excited for that. And, those kind of things come along with getting the program back to where it needs to be.
Absolutely, and that's 7 o'clock. We're going to be there. There it is, Park Hill Trojans. Wow, that's impressive. The best teams, you want to play the best, and they will be here. Pregame starts at 6:40, and I'm told that perhaps Jim Dickerson will be. I don't make any promises anymore, but I believe that Jim will be there. He's a busy man, we all know that, and he's kind of a big deal, and we all are aware of that. So join us, get your purple on. I don't have to tell you, it's going to be a great contest, and we'll see you out there on Friday night against the Park Hill Trojans, and go Bulldogs. Thanks for being with us today on the Coach Minnick Show.